Okay, so I don't normally make videos like this because honestly, I don't like to debate. I don't like to get into those issues that keep me from living the life that I want. So while everyone's debating and fighting on Facebook and going back and forth with different things, I'm kind of too busy trying to find the solutions for my own life. And so this issue, it really has nothing to do with theology, but really where people are at developmentally. Now, I mean, there's different levels of human development, and I think we see it as a theological thing, but ultimately it has nothing to do with theology. But that's a whole nother conversation. So, why are we focusing on this silly issue with this movie, The Shack, coming out? The debate is so silly, and probably half of the people that are watching this don't even really know what's going on with this whole debate about The Shack. And God is portrayed in the book, The Shack, and I'm assuming it's the same thing in the movie. That's what the debate is over. God is portrayed as a woman. And so I know a lot of Christians are coming down on this, saying theologically, how could God show up as a woman? When really, who cares? Who really cares? The reason why God shows up as a woman in that book and in the movie is because that's what that person needed. That person needed God to show up as a woman. It has nothing to do with theology. As a matter of fact, I mean, you see all throughout scriptures that God shows up in many different ways. I mean, God showed up in the wind and in the fire, during Pentecost. God can show up however he wants to show up. Who are we to say that God can't show up as a woman to heal someone in the feminine areas that they need healing in? As a matter of fact, I remember, being in the club a long time ago, however many years ago. I remember being in the club and being on so many drugs. I remember cracking a Coors Light bottle, and I was ready to stab myself in the stomach. Why? I don't know. But all of a sudden, now I know what it was. It was God. It was the Creator shows up and causes me not to do that. Well, am I to say, well, God can't show up through this trip, this bad trip that I was on? God totally showed up through that. If it weren't for God, I probably would have stabbed myself in the stomach with that broken Coors Light bottle. So here's the thing. Who are we to say that we have theology on lock? Who are we to say that we know how God should show up or how God shouldn't show up? The bottom line is this: God will show up however he wants. God showed up as a human in Jesus. God will continue to show up, and he'll continue to confound us, and he'll continue to blow our minds away. God shows up in the wonder and in the grandeur of the cosmos. Who are we to say that we know all that? When we look at the overall universe, it gets really, really big, and it blows our mind to understand the size of the sun, or the amount of distance the moon is away from the earth, and the fact that the sun is just so close. It's in the perfect position where it doesn't burn us up, yet it's not so far away where earth is not so cold and we freeze and we die. You could look at quantum physics, and it gets very, very weird very, very quickly when you go to the smallest, subatomic particles and how all that works, and quirks and string theory and all of that stuff. How does God show up in all of that? Why does God show up in the weirdness and the smallness of quantum physics? And a particle is able to be here and be thousands and thousands of miles away at the same exact time. God is in all of that as well. So for God to show up as a female, I think that's okay. I think God has the right to do and be whatever he wants. I see God show up in the lives of people that don't know him, and their lives are being transformed, yet they don't attribute it to God the Creator, Jesus. They don't attribute it to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God doesn't need us to name him. He's not that insecure where he needs to get the credit, and he's not that insecure where everything has to fall along the lines of this very particular belief system. God is beyond your belief system. God is beyond your theology. God is beyond all of that, and God has the right to be and do whatever he wants to be, and he can do whatever he wants to do. So if God feels like showing up as a woman and people's lives are being transformed by that, and someone needs that in their lives, who are you to say as a Christian that that's not right? And you're gonna boycott a movie that has the potential to transform lives in the name of God? Christians, people of faith, we're getting it all wrong. You have it all wrong. You're allowing the place that you're at developmentally to get in the way of God. You know, the scriptures talk about, Jesus talks about, the Pharisees that go to land and sea trying to find a convert. And when they convert that convert, Jesus says, they make them twice the son of Satan as they already were. Do you get it? We find people and we try to convert them into our belief system, into our theology, into our religion, into our denominational understanding and belief system. And then what happens is we put them in this place where we block them from really being able to encounter God. And that's what I have experienced in my life. And that's why I had to step away from all that. I often tell people that I quit Christianity to follow Jesus. Because it's a belief system. God does not care about a belief system. God cares about our heart. God told the prophet, oh man, it slipped out of my mind. God told the prophet when he was picking David to be the king, don't focus on the outward appearance. Don't focus on the outward appearance, focus on the heart. God cares about our heart. He doesn't care about the belief system. He doesn't care about correct theology per se. He cares about the heart. And listen, once again, God will show up any way he wants. Who are we to think that God has to fit in our neat little boxes? And I personally thought that, and God blew my boxes, shattered my boxes, and totally took me on the ride of my life, an adventure of my life. And to this day, I can't necessarily say or put God in any specific box or any specific belief system, because you know what? God is bigger than that. God is bigger than the universe. He's cooler than the quantum world. God, we try to find God in the universe and he blows us away. We try to find God in the infinite small little particles of this world, and he blows us away. He keeps going deeper and deeper and deeper. They thought when they split the atom that they would be able to get that, and they thought that if they could just split that they thought they would get to God, and they just continue to do it and do it and do it, and how far deep down the rabbit hole do you want to go? God is going to continue to blow you away. So if God wants to show up as a woman, then God can show up as a woman. Who are we to get in the way of that? People's lives will be transformed by this movie. People's lives were transformed by the book. It gives people hope. It gives people, it gives people a hope for a different future. Why would we block people from experiencing God because of our silly belief systems, because of the theology that we think we have locked down and we really know it? But the truth is, if you look deep inside of your heart, you'll realize you don't know anything. You know nothing. You know what God allows you to know. You know relationship with God because he allows you. He gives you that measure of faith to give you that relationship with him. So Christians, please stop it. Stop it. Stop meddling in God's business. Stop doing stuff that ultimately is going to keep people away from experiencing the kingdom, not moving toward it. Don't be that block. Don't be the person that blocks the other person from experiencing truth, from experiencing God, from experiencing something that could give them hope and life. That's all. Peace.